Apparently, Playboi Carti's about to drop. He tagged Spotify in one of his most recent posts talking about clearing samples or just dropping the album. And honestly, man, I can't even tell y'all how much I don't care about this. It's been 5 years. Why am I supposed to be excited now? Also, I feel like a lot of people are rewarding him for doing like the most mediocre stuff. He did go on a feature run with a lot of hit songs, but some of them were pop songs, and that Weeknd song he had was made with AI, so I feel like that kind of discredits the artistry behind it. Because if you're really a creative artist, why do you need AI to tell you how to make a song? Keep in mind, Playboi Carti's 29 years old. He has a son and a daughter, but he's a deadbeat. That just makes me not have a lot of respect for him as an artist and as a human. Also, he's abused a lot of women in his life, which is crazy for an artist who acts very feminine. He was literally caught in public with a thong on, then will go on to beat his girlfriend for being pregnant. First of all, why are you beating your girlfriend? You the one who got her pregnant. Second of all, how you gonna try to act all tough and beat up on women, but you outside wearing thongs, acting all feminine? You gotta get your priorities straight. This is the same dude who went to hang out with Lil Uzi instead of going to see his son being born. If y'all don't think this is corny, I don't know how to get through to y'all, honestly. Cause like if you look up to Playboi Carti as an example of how you wanna live your life, you stupid. That's why I can't take some of you YouTubers seriously. The second he does anything, or even post one thing, or one thing comes out about him, y'all will post 50 videos about it. Y'all gonna glaze him. Y'all gonna be like, oh my god, Carti about to drop, Carti about to drop. Yes, I understand it's your job, but have some dignity at least, bro. I feel like some of the reasons he hasn't dropped in 5 years is because people keep talking about how he hasn't dropped in 5 years. So he's like, oh, if they still talking, I don't really need to drop anything. My name's still going around. And if my name is still going around, I can still use that popularity to tour the same album, Whole Lotta Red, and make more money off of it. And touring Whole Lotta Red still is not a bad idea because he'll make more money off of it and it'll be more money to give back to the label to pay his debt. Imagine how much more he would have if he just dropped more songs or interacted with the fans more. I understand it's his gimmick, but he hasn't done anything different in the last 5 years. The most he's done other than features is post songs on Instagram and YouTube, which is pretty lazy in my opinion, because if you want to make the most out of what you're dropping and what you're doing, you'd post it on all platforms so all your fans could listen to it. And if he was doing this to be anti-industry, it really wouldn't make sense because during this time he would be doing songs with the biggest people in the industry. I feel like the reason he's been pushing back the album and the tour dates and stuff like that is because he's scared to drop the album. I remember he even announced a deluxe for Whole Lotta Red and never dropped that. The reaction after Whole Lotta Red definitely affected him in a bad way because at first people hated it, they did not like it at all, and that probably made him feel a little insecure about his music, which is understandable, but it's not an excuse to not drop anything for the next 5 years. Like bro, if he wanted people to have a different reaction to it, he shouldn't have recorded it all in the same week right before he dropped it on Christmas. It just makes it look like he has commitment issues because he can't even commit to his own kids or his own albums. I don't even think I Am Music is worth 5 years of waiting, and I don't think any of his other albums would be either because all his albums have the same subject matter. Yes, he could switch his flow up, he could switch how his voice sounds, he could switch the production on the albums, but if he's talking about the same thing on each album, it's gonna get boring after a while. This is why I think he's scared to drop I Am Music. This is the last album he's gonna be able to use the same subject matter with no purpose or meaning. Next year he's gonna be 30, and I'm not really trying to hear a 30-year-old man rap about lean and drugs over and over again, unless there's a purpose or a meaning behind it or a story he's trying to convey, which would make sense. But you're never gonna get an introspective take from Playboi Carti, and this is what I think is gonna be his downfall unless he pivots and makes a change. For example, I think an artist like Future would be a good comparison. He talks about his upbringing, his background, his love stories, and his heartbreaks. So if Playboi Carti wants to have the same kind of longevity, he actually needs to tap into something and tell stories and actually give his fans more lore about his life other than, oh, Playboi Carti's a vampire, I think he has so much aura, I'm about to glaze him. Besides his gimmick, music-wise, he's not even doing anything that crazy. His most experimental album was Whole Lotta Red, and I honestly feel that he's not the first artist to do that sound. He's just the biggest one and he presented it the best way. And since that album brought him so much notoriety and so many eyes on him, I don't think he's gonna do anything that experimental again in a while. I think he's just gonna try to play it safe to keep that mainstream attention on him, cause that's what he's been doing by getting all these features from The Weeknd, Travis Scott, and Kanye. And I know he knows if he drops something like Whole Lotta Red again, it's not even gonna hit as hard or do as good number-wise. Unless it was Whole Lotta Red version 2. I feel like he still should have dropped that. He could have dropped it as a deluxe after the original Whole Lotta Red dropped, or he could have just dropped it as another album in between Whole Lotta Red and I Am Music. And as I'm recording this, a new release date came out from March 14th, and that's when they're saying he's gonna quote-unquote drop I Am Music. I obviously don't think it's gonna come out. I don't even think it's gonna come out till summertime probably, because he didn't even post it on his story, or he hasn't announced it himself. So I'm not gonna believe someone other than the person who's supposed to drop the album, you know? Like, anyone could say a release date, but he's the one who has to submit it. The whole branding of the album was he was supposed to drop in the year 2024, and he let that whole year go by and nothing came out. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna drop anytime soon, not even this month probably. But that's all for today's video. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I always read y'all comments. I always enjoy doing that, no matter if it's positive or negative. Subscribe if you haven't. I ain't gonna force you, but have a nice day.